November 23rd, 2018, NHL news and notes. A lot to go over today. Let's hit the board. New Jersey Devils defenseman Sami Vatanen and forward Brian Boyle were activated off the IR and will play against the New York Islanders. Vatanen, who in 17 games had 1 goal and 7 points, missed 3 games with lower body injury, and Brian Boyle in 15 games, had 6 goals, and he was out for 5 weeks. He was out for 5 games, with an upper body injury. I believe he suffered that off of a check from Dustin Byfuglien a little while back. Moving forward, St. Louis Blues forward Jaden Schwartz was placed on IR. He just seems to be hitting that infirmary on and off consistently through each and every season with an upper body injury. He has been out since November 16th, and in 15 games he's had 2 goals and 7 assists, which is a little slow for his standards so far this season. But St. Louis did get back Patrick Maroon, who was activated off the IR. Unfortunately, he hasn't gone off to a great start this season, as in 14 games, he's had 0 goals and 7 assists. So hopefully he comes back reinvigorated. You know what I mean. Okay, Ottawa Senators trade, and now this is a bit older news from yesterday, but I was away yesterday. My apologies, my day job. But Ottawa trades defenseman Chris Wideman, 28-year-old Chris Wideman, to the Oilers for a 6th-round pick in 2020. In 19 games, he had 5 points. This was going to be his 4th season with Ottawa. He was drafted 100th overall in 2009. And he'll be a pending UFA, making $1 million this year. I guess this is a good move for the Oilers. Really, they get a defenseman who's decent at moving the puck. Apparently, 4 or so younger players, beat out Wideman for this position, but I mean, there's always an underlying drama with Ottawa. And if you remember the whole Uber incident in the cab, Wideman was the one sitting in the front seat. Yeah, saying a few harmful things against the coaching staff. So you never know how much of that had to do with it. I'm sure it did. In any case, next piece of news, the Winnipeg Jets send 19-year-old forward Christian Vesalainen to Finland's to the KHL's Finnish team named Jokerit for the rest of the season until April. The 24th overall pick in 2017 has been back and forth between their AHL affiliate, the Manitoba Moose, in which in 8 games there he's had 8 points, which is pretty good. But in 5 games that he's been up and back and forth with Winnipeg, he's only had 1 assist. So I guess he's just going to get a lot of playing time in the KHL, and that's what they want. Maybe when he comes back in April, when probably the Jets will be playing in the playoffs, perhaps he may be a bit of a depth player there, just in case anyone is injured, and or the Manitoba Moose if they end up in the playoffs. If anyone has more info on why they thought he might have been going to the KHL as opposed to staying with the AHL, maybe you can leave that note in the comments down below. I guess he's just going to get more playing time there. That would be my assumption. Next piece of news: the Montreal Canadiens, Shea Weber could be back versus Carolina on Tuesday. He's been out since December 16th of last year, obviously with foot and knee injury. In 26 games, he had 16 points with the Canadiens in the 17-18 season. Noah Juulsen is for the Canadiens is now defenseman, is out indefinitely with a facial fracture, and so one might say the timing on this is kind of ideal because they were thinking about putting Alzner on waivers. So this kind of balances everything out for them. The Calgary Flames forward Michael Frolik was placed on the IR with a lower body injury. He missed the Winnipeg Jets game on Wednesday. So far in 20 games, he's had 7 goals and 0 assists. And Stone, defenseman Stone, was placed on the IR with blood clots. He played only 1 game since October 25th, excuse me. And I believe that's a lot to do with him just being bumped out of the lineup because of other younger players. Calgary is now 13-8-1, by the way, and leads the Pacific Division. Next up, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Penguins. Goalie Matt Murray was placed on the IR with a lower body injury. Apparently he's had this ailment for like 2 weeks now, and he's been trying to deal with it. So far, as you probably know, he hasn't had the greatest season. His save percentage has been .877. His goals against 4.08 in 11 games. And Casey DeSmith, who's Casey DeSmith? DeSmith, anyways, who stepped in for him now, has 13 games under his belt and has a .924 save percentage with a 2.39 goals against. So he's been doing a lot better. And if you see my fantasy hockey pool updates every week, I mention possibly taking a flyer on him. Penguins are also recalling Tristan Jarry from the AHL to back him up. Last piece of news here to do with the Ottawa Senators again, because they can't go another week without some major drama. But to add to this Chris Weidman thing, Melnyk is suing his partners for $700 million over a conflict of interest. The same ones he was supposed to be in on building the new arena with downtown, because the arena is now, Canadian Tire Center is now in Canada, which is, with traffic's like 45 minutes out of downtown. So they were trying to put an arena close by, to increase attendance, et cetera, et cetera. And this came after news from yesterday where the NCC and the mayor told them that they have to solve their, inner conflict issues between the partnership. They had till January to solve it, and then I don't think they meant for them to do this. For Melnyk meant to sue his partner. So I'm sorry, Ottawa fans. I just never seem to have. I mean, the team's doing pretty decent this year. I don't think anyone expected them to do this well. So that is good news. But yeah. By the way, there's been 15 games on today. Yeah, 30 out of 31 teams are playing. And if I was going to list them all, wow. The Oilers versus the Ducks, the Jets versus the Wild, the Canadiens versus the Sabres, the Islanders versus the Devils, the Red Wings versus the Capitals, the Flames versus the Golden Knights, the Maple Leafs versus the Blue Jackets, the Penguins versus the Bruins, the Blackhawks versus the Lightning, the Panthers versus the Hurricanes, the Avalanche versus the Coyotes, the Predators versus the Blues, the Senators versus the Stars, the Canucks versus the Sharks, and the Rangers versus the Flyers. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were able to keep up with all that. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you really liked it and you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And if you have any hockey friends, don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon.